Hey everyone, welcome back. So today is Tuesday, and we got like four different production updates for September. So the ones we're going to go over right now is going to be Cleanspark and Digihost as well. So we're going to look at both of those, see how they did. Cleanspark nailed it out of the park as far as their growth has been lately in the last couple of months. They're doing a fantastic job. Digihost has got some good news, but they haven't been growing much. So we'll take a look at the numbers there as well. And as always, you guys know the drill here, not financial advice, for entertainment only. Do your own research. And I'm invested in fund cleansing companies. So yes, I'm an investor in Cleanspark as well. And some of the other ones here, Bitfarms, Hive, are the miners that I'm invested in right now. Let's take a look at what's going on here with Cleanspark on the chart right now. So Cleanspark is actually up right now, 8.49% on the day to $3.45. It has bottomed out here, looks like towards the end of September 9/23, when it bottomed out at $3 basically, and it has been kind of slowly getting back up over it. I think it's gotten beaten down quite a bit because of their basically package to management for their shares and compensation package. I think it's gotten beaten down quite a bit here because of that, but we are finally possibly turning around a little bit on the price appreciation here. So that's where Cleanspark is at right now. Let's take a look at Digihost as well. Digihost is at right now 80 cents. It was up 1.55% a little bit, and it looks like we just crossed over into the after hours. So it's up a little bit in the after hours, 3.2% to 83 cents. And let's see if we got anything. We don't have anything on Cleanspark as far as after hours action is concerned. All right, so let's take a look at Cleanspark here. And oops, where did it go? Where did I put it? There it is. Let's take a look at Cleanspark first, and then we'll get into Digihost. So Cleanspark has released their numbers for September, and they are fantastic. So here's a quote from the company. So we're going to look at a quote from Zach Bradford, the CEO, and another one from their chief financial officer. So we experienced impressive growth this month, increasing our hash rate by 21% in a single month. That is huge, obviously. And that's just me. Back to the quote. Our successes are the direct result of our extraordinary teams who are working to ensure Cleanspark maintains its coveted position in the top 5 of publicly traded mining companies in North America. In fact, by many measures, including monthly Bitcoin production, we are firmly in the top 3, and we intend to stay there as we build our way out of current market conditions. So that is obviously correct. That's fantastic, that the way they have been doing it. Obviously, like I said, the compensation package was a little high, and I think it got beaten down because of it. Now, here's a quote from Gary V. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name, so I do apologize. So he's the chief financial officer. Here's a quote from him. Our Bitcoin balance has increased by 13% month over month, making it one of the largest monthly increases in our HODL since we started releasing monthly mining updates. While we continue our strategy of deploying Bitcoin to fund our growth and operations, the fact that our Bitcoin treasury is increasing is a testament of our growth strategy. The growth in our HODL balance is a direct reflection of our free cash flow resulting from our recent acquisitions, low operating costs, and minimal debt services, which is all correct. So this is one of the reasons that I do invest in them. Not financial advice, do your own research as always. But the reason I like investing in them is because they are growing so fast and so much. They started out back in basically at the beginning of 2021. We're only, a year and 9 months in. They're already at, well, we'll get into it, but they're already over 4 exahash right now, while other companies that have been around a lot longer are having a hard time getting to that point. So that's one of the reasons, and obviously them using the Bitcoin to fund their growth is very appealing to me. All right, so here's the update. So Bitcoin mined in September was 448, up 13% from August, so a huge increase. Even though we've had increases in the difficulty and everything else, they are still increasing their growth, so that's great to see. Total BTC holdings as of September 30th was 594, a 13% increase in HODL balance, which is great. And then total BTC converted for operations and growth in September was 380, or 2% less than in August. So they obviously had to sell to fund operations and growth, which I'm fine with that. And then currently deployed fleet of over 42,000 latest generation Bitcoin miners with a hash rate of 4.16 exahash, up 21% from August and 316% from last year of September. So huge growth there. That, like I said, they started out basically at 0 starting in 2021 at the beginning, and they've grown to 4.16 exahash in, what is that going to be now, 21 months? So that is fantastic growth, and they're looking to grow even more. And that is it for the update. Let's take a look at the numbers I have for them, and then we'll get into Digihost as well. So here is Cleanspark. Cleanspark right now, like I said, is trading at, what is it, at $3.45. Finish out the day. I have it $3.18. I have it from yesterday's numbers. Those haven't been updated. Those will get updated here later on. Obviously, the market has closed, so those will get updated. And shares outstanding is 47 million, so very few shares out, which is good. The market cap, 150 million roughly. This is obviously way undervalued in my opinion, based on what they're going to be generating as far as revenue is concerned. We do have them at 4.16 exahash right now. Future hash rate that we have basically received notices for is 6.4 exahash. And they are trying to get to 22.4, I believe, by the end of next year. So still a lot of growth for them. They're currently 64% operational and miners installed. They have about 54% of growth left to get them to the 6.4 exahash. But obviously, if they go to the 22.4, they're going to have obviously a lot more growth left in them. Average hash rate per miner is 90, almost 100 terahash. BTC HODL is 594. That equates to a currently about 11.4 million in HODL position right now. HODL to market cap is 7.61%, and each share has about 24 cents of HODL position. It's going to be off a little bit since their price went up a little bit, so it should be a little bit lower from that. All right, now looking at the production here for the past year, we can see that they started out with 305 BTC in January. They had 276 in February. March was 318. April was 313. May was 312. June was 339. July was 384. August was 395. September was 448. So a huge increase, obviously, there. If we look at their hash rate growth, they grew 150 petahash in February from January. March was 100 petahash. April was 90. May was 100. June was 300. July was a little bit lower, 93. August was 506. That was a huge increase for them. And then obviously September, a massive increase here of 760 petahash in just 1 month. That is outstanding. So that got us to possibly them earning about 8.87 million for the month of September. Obviously, Bitcoin has been down pretty low. The average was about 19,600, something like that. Whereas compared to August, we had around a 22,000 mark. So that's why, even though they mined more, the price of Bitcoin was down. That's why income is where it's at right now, or revenue. It is still, however, higher than it was in August, which is good to see. And August was higher than in July. July was obviously higher than June. Other than that, we pretty much topped out here in March at 14.4 million. Roughly it came down here through June and then finally started going back up as their production and installation of miners increased. So that is obviously great to see there. Okay. Last month's video, I was estimating they were going to be about 447 BTC mined. They came in at 448, so they actually beat my estimates here, so we can take that out right now. I was going by the estimates of what they were actually mining prior. So we came pretty close to that. And they did sell, obviously, 380 BTC for about 7.5 million in revenue from that to fund operations and growth. Here is what we installed in September for them as far as miners. So we installed 580 of these 100 terahash miners. They were operating for about 9 days based on my calculations. These are just rough calculations to begin with. The other miners here have been running for 30 days. We also installed 4,815 of these 100 terahash miners as well. We also installed these 2,210 miners. They give them another 221 petahash. And these are 100 terahash miners as well. And finally, we had obviously the August announcement here that I believe finally got plugged in. That was another 3,400 miners, and those are the 100 terahash miners as well. That got us to the 4.16 exahash that they reported, which is right in queue, and our revenue is right in line as well at 8.86, which is really close to the 8.87. So we're off by, what, $10,000 on it possibly, based on just doing this kind of calculation here. So we're looking good there. Other good thing is institutions. So institutions did increase their shares a little bit, not much, by about, 20,000 or so shares. That is now 30.4% owned, which is a good sign. We still have one strong buy rating, 2 buy ratings. Price target stayed the same, 12 for the high, 10.33 for the average, and for the low of $9. And that is kind of, I think, pretty low for them right now. as far as what they're looking at. But that is what we have on that. And let's take a look at the actual numbers that we have here. So for the quarter, it looks like they might have generated around 25, 26 million in revenue. We're going to be off a little bit here. I don't know exactly when they sold the coin, so that's obviously going to have an impact on it. But we are using the Bitcoin price, average price for the month of September here, along with August, July, we were using the ending price. So we're going to be off slightly possibly here. And so that's 26 million there. So we're using the last 3 quarters here, which was 104 million. And then this current quarter of 25 million. So we're looking for a combined total of 130 million right now. So if we're at 50% net income from gross revenue using the price to earnings multiple of 20, I have them at $27.78. And if we're using 75% net income from gross revenue with a PE of 20, $41.66. So in my opinion, they are way undervalued right now. And the reason the price is so much higher is because the shares out are so low that, the calculations work out to their favor, where obviously if they start diluting shares, well, then that price is going to start coming back down a little bit here. But overall, right now, this is kind of where I'm seeing where things are going to possibly play out once we start getting back into a bull run before. And it's not too far off from their high. The 52-week high was $23.60. Obviously, their low was $33 here. So it is within that reach here. And I think if Bitcoin starts going back, which I don't think is going to happen anytime soon, but possibly within the next 6 to 9 months, we might start going back up in value on Bitcoin, especially as we get closer to the halving event, which is also like 500 and some odd days out. So the closer we get to that, I think the chance of Bitcoin starting to rally a little bit will obviously improve for that. So that is it for Cleanspark. Obviously, fantastic job. I'm going to be looking to possibly add a little bit more. I think I'm down like 20% on them right now. I've been buying in and dollar cost averaging in as best I can and just buying the dips. So I've averaged down pretty well, but I still want to buy some more of them on any dips that I can find or that happen coming here in the next couple of weeks, months. I'll buy into them as more as that happens. So not financial advice. You guys do you. But that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I see them as a potential huge winner here, especially when Bitcoin starts going back up. All right, so that's Cleanspark. Let's take a look at Digihost. Digihost had a pretty good, it wasn't bad. Let's just go over it and we'll cover it, obviously. So production highlights for September for Digihost is they mined 69.84 BTC, resulting in total holdings of 160.86 BTC at the end of September, valued at approximately 3.13 million based on BTC price of 19,432. Ethereum holdings, they still have the same amount of Ethereum, 1,000.89 at the end of September, valued at 1.33 million, based on Ethereum price of 1,328. And then total digital assets inventory valuing consisting of BTC and Ethereum are approximately 4.46 million, which is good. And then here's some good parts. So to avoid equity dilution for its shareholders, management sold a portion of its BTC production during September to fund its energy costs, which is fine. And then the company remains debt-free as of September 30th, 2022. That's fantastic there. So in continuing its support of the power needs of the local community, the company reduced its overall energy consumption throughout Q3 of 2022, with its operation running predominantly at off-peak hours. So they've obviously shut down for quite a few days there. And we'll look at the numbers here in a minute. Other interesting things, tidbits here is Digihost is pleased to announce that it has received approval from New York Public Service Commission for acquisition of the 60 megawatt power plant in North Tonawanda. Originally announced by the company on March 24th, Digihost is currently moving forward expeditiously with other closing matters in order to complete the acquisition of the power plant in Q4 of 2022. So that's still this year, so within the next 3 months. And then with the power plant running at 50 megawatts, the company will be able to increase its current operating capacity by approximately 150%, increasing Digihost's rate to approximately 1.6 exahash. I have it right now at about 600 some petahash, so that would be obviously a good increase for them. Also, Alabama State build-out. The company is pleased to announce that it continues the development of the facility's Phase 1 build-out and construction work in Alabama on schedule and on budget. Digihost is building the necessary infrastructure to provide the property with a power capacity of 22 megawatts during the fourth quarter of 2022, so that's still this year, and a total of 55 megawatts by the end of first quarter of 2023, so that's obviously nice growth there. Completion of the Phase 1 build-out will provide company with approximately 550 petahash of additional operating capacity, and then if they do the phase 2 of it to 55 megawatts. I think that's part of that phase 1 there. So that's fine. And then during Q3 of 2022, Digihost received Public Service Commission approval for economic rider rate discount. This discount, coupled with the lower direct energy costs it has negotiated with Alabama Power, will lead to an overall reduction in the company's operating costs, which is obviously good news as well. And finally, we got North Carolina expansion. As previously disclosed early in the year, the company announced that it has acquired 25 acres of land in North Carolina and will be developing it for use in Q3 or Q4 of 2023 with a request for allocation of up to 200 megawatts of power. So that's obviously going to be a huge increase for them there. Only big thing, or I guess the downside, is they did not provide what their current exahash or petahash rate is right now at the end of September, leading me to believe that they did not install any miners, which is unfortunate because it looks like they haven't done that in a couple months. So let's take a look at Digihost really quick as well. So Digihost has 25.1 million shares outstanding. Stock price, we looked at that, is around 80 right now. Market cap is about 20 million on them. And current hash rate is 597 petahash. So future hash rate is going to be 1.1. They're saying it's possibly going to get 1.6. We have not, or at least I have not seen anything that would lead me to believe that they have purchased any miners to get to the 1.6, but at least they will have the capacity to do that. They are 52% operational right now. Hash rate is, growth left is about 91%. And number of miners and hash rate average per miner is about 90 terahash right there. Bitcoin HODL is 160.86, valued at 3,084,000. And that is 15.51% of their HODL to market cap. And each share has about 12 cents of HODL position in it right now. Looking at the production here, we can see that in May, they ran into some issues, obviously, with one of their facilities, where they were at the end of April, they were up to 1 exahash. But for some reason, I can't remember now, I think it was a power outage or not a sub panel. It was I can think of the term right now. But they had a power issue, basically, and they went down in exahash to 597 petahash. There was obviously a decrease there, and ever since then, it seems like everything has just kind of stayed flat for them. And then they've remained at 597 here for the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months, which isn't good. So that's the only bad side of it. Obviously, they are doing things to get them to more hash rate, more capacity, which hopefully will eventually start resulting in them actually growing their hash rate to possibly the 1.6 that they said that they have capacity to. Now, looking at their numbers here, obviously they had a really good month in April of 109 BTC mined. That was their best month yet. They did have 75 in March, 50 in February, 62 in January, and then we had in May 70, June was 72, July was 64, August was 67, and September was 69. So they are slowly increasing those, which is good. And for September, we're looking at possibly 1.38 million in revenue, which isn't that much. And they did sell, let's see if they, did I not do that one for that one? Let's see here, did I forget? Let me see, what did they report? They had 160.86. So yeah, it looks like they sold pretty much what they mined here for the month of September. So about 1.6 million in revenue from that. So whatever they mined, they basically sold it. Okay, so those are the production numbers here, how they look. And then looking at what they actually had running here in September. So it looks like they were running at only maybe 26.6 days out of the month, out of 30. So they were shut down for a couple of those days, or at least the times when the peak demand was on, they were shutting down. And that obviously got us to 1.384, which is really close to what we have here, 1.383. So those are the numbers that we have. Institution-wise, we have some decreases, which isn't a good sign sometimes. Institutions did decrease to 21 from 22. Shares decreased by about 20,000, and percentage owned went down to 6.79%. We still have only one buy rating, and the price targets are for high 367, so those have come down across the board, the average and low as well. Now, looking at their numbers here, so September we're looking for the quarter to end, we're looking at about 4.3 million roughly. We're going to be pretty close to that. I'd be happy with that. And that is obviously a pretty big decrease here, almost 40%, I'd guess, decrease from where they were in June and in March quarters. So we'll have to see how they can improve on that, obviously. Now, based on where they are with the numbers that we do have, current quarter is about 4.3 million. Last 3 quarters were pretty good at 24.3. That got us to 28.6 million in revenue. If we're using 50% net income, PE of 20, they should be about $11.38. Obviously, they're not anywhere near that right now. Plus, with their limited growth here as far as exahash is concerned, I could see them, not trading at 20 PE, but maybe 15 PE. And then that would get us to about $8.54. And 50% net income from gross revenue and 75% net income from gross revenue would be $12.81, which is pretty close to where they were with their 52-week high at $8 here. So that gets us pretty close to that. Excuse me. And obviously, if Bitcoin starts going up, we could possibly see them going up higher, especially as the months go in, price goes up on Bitcoin, they're able to generate more revenue, so that could obviously have an impact on it as well. And obviously, depending on if they dilute shares or not, when that happens, that will obviously offset some of the gains here possibly. But yeah, overall, they're at least mining what they can mine right now. The big thing is obviously for them to install more miners if they can, increase their hash rate. Obviously, they're doing the right things by getting facilities and growing their hash rate that way. But just obviously getting more miners installed is the big thing. And that should obviously help them in the long run, I would think. But that's the only bad part right there. Obviously, being debt-free helps tremendously. And funding operations from Bitcoin right now seems like the smart move, at least in my view. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, let me know your thoughts below on Cleanspark. What do you think of them? What do you think of Digihost? And then we'll see. I'll do another video on probably Riot and Hut 8 after this one. Once I get all the numbers inputted, we'll go over that as well. But if you enjoyed this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. Spreadsheet is always available to my Patreon members, and that's only $4. So not a lot to ask for. That's it. Thank you so much for watching. Love you all. I'll see you guys in the next one.